Today's webinar is about how to launch your subscription business. We're going to cover a lot of basic stuff today, fundamental stuff at the early stage of launching your subscription, not so much into scaling your subscription, not so much into product sourcing, not so much into marketing and that type of things, but really how to build a strong foundation, how to build initial interest and anticipation for your product, and then how to take that interest and turn it into subscribers. So what we'll do today is we're going to go through about 30 minutes of content, and then we'll have a brief Q&A session. We'll answer your questions that you ask throughout the webinar. If it's the first time you've been in a webinar with us, first of all, welcome. And second of all, take a look at the GoToWebinar control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. You should see a couple different options there. One of them should be the questions section. So you can type your questions in there. I see we've got a couple questions coming in already. And when we go through stuff today, feel free to drop as many questions as you like. We're going to hold off all the questions until the end of the session. So at the end of today's webinar, we'll go through everybody's questions. So if you do ask something and it doesn't get answered immediately, just hold tight. We will we'll definitely get to those things at the end of today's session. So let's go ahead and kick this thing off. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is who you're with right now. So that's me on the left-hand side. My name is Richardson. I've been working with subscription commerce for about 6 years now. I've worked on everything from vacations and boxes to cat boxes to artisan food boxes to healthy food boxes. I've consulted or been a part of several other boxes, gluten-free boxes, yoga boxes, geek and gamer boxes, baking boxes, basically just about everything you can think of in a box. I probably have worked in some capacity at before. And these days, I run a subscription business called Prosperly with my brother. It's an artisan food subscription, and we like to call it a farmer's market in a box. And I also work with Cratejoy over at Subscription School. And Subscription School, if you've never heard of it before, it's an awesome free resource full of different information and videos and guides and webinars like the one you're in right now, all about subscription businesses. Everything from how to get started on them to customer acquisition to shipping and fulfillment to packaging to customer support and basically everything else in between. And you can check out Subscription School at subscriptionschool.com. And you can see we've got different guides, videos, webinars, and resources. I definitely encourage you guys who are in the early stages of starting your business to spend a lot of time on Subscription School, especially in the resources section. The resources section has a lot of really cool things that can help you get started. Everything from this growth checklist, how to source products, a couple worksheets to help you stay organized. We have lots of different other services and resources that we've itemized and vetted for you ahead of time. Everything from accounting support to packaging and fulfillment support. And in addition to these resources, there's also a bunch of really cool guides. If you're messing around with Facebook advertising, you want to get prepared for the holiday season, or you want to do influencer marketing, or you want to work with subscription box bloggers, you get the idea. Subscription School is a really cool resource, and all the webinars we hold are all recorded, including the one you're in right now, and you can go and watch all of them in the video section. So these videos span for about a year back, everything from how to get your early subscribers to email marketing, fulfillment, Google Analytics, trademarks, copyright stuff. A lot of really cool topics there, and all of them are free to use and free to access forever, which is awesome. I would also draw your attention to the Facebook group at Subscription School. If you go to facebook.com/groups/subscription school, it's a closed group, so you have to request to be allowed in. But it's a really awesome community, and I bet some of you who are here today are probably in the group already. It's full of different subscription boxing entrepreneurs, people who are at 10,000 subscribers, people who are at 1 subscriber, and people who haven't launched yet. People who have sold their businesses are in this group. So it really runs the gamut of the different experience levels. And what makes that even better is you can post a question about just about anything, and people will give you their advice on it. You can post your landing page on here, and people will give you advice on it. Your marketing ideas on here, your Facebook ad results on here, and people will critique and constructively criticize what you work on. And it's a really, really positive, really powerful, and really constructive community of entrepreneurs that it's been awesome to grow. We've been doing this for about 6 or 7 months, I think, officially, and we're well over 2,000 members at this point. So it's a really cool group. I encourage you guys to be a part of it if you're not a part of it already. A couple other things that I want to draw your attention to. is the Cratechoy knowledge base. So if you do have questions about like the Cratechoy platform, if you just go to help.cratechoy.com, that's where you can find answers to platform questions, everything from the website designer to rebilling stuff, that type of thing. We have a great support staff here at Cratechoy, and they have a lot of really awesome answers already built into the support platform right here. So if you do have questions about that type of thing, please bug our support team. They're happy to help you. Okay, so let's jump into this and start today's presentation. So the overview of today is how to get started. It's really some fundamental things about how to build your business from an idea stage to actually getting your product to market. So I'm going to give you a bunch of early action items and really show you some basic steps on how to get started. I'm going to outline all of that in a kind of a 3-step to an official launch scenario. And I'll explain why I break them into steps and I extend it over a certain period of time versus just launching something over the weekend, which you can definitely do. This is going to involve getting early adopters and validating your idea, converting those early adopters and those early interested customers to actual customers, how to nurture those leads while you're waiting to convert them into customers, and then a bunch of benchmarks and some goals that you should have while you're doing this process to make sure that you're getting the most out of the data that you're gathering. You can confidently say, yes, this is a good idea. Yes, we're going in the right direction. This is an awesome product, and we'll be able to sell it and scale it once we get to market. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you a little bit of challenge, a specific task from me. So the first step of this, and this isn't the first phase, this is the first step, would be to start a free trial at Cratechoy. I really encourage you to do this for a couple reasons. First of all, it's free. And I don't just mean to kind of shill the platform here, but I actually think it's a really good idea, and I suggest doing this even if you're not using Cratechoy, to go to your platform and get comfortable with it. Go create your store, start to work through your platform or Cratechoy platform, start to get a feel of what kind of buttons you'll be pressing, what levers you'll be pulling. So when you do launch your business, you're not getting into customers' accounts for the first time. You're not looking at the shipment page for the first time when you're actually having to print shipments. Check out the designer, check out customer accounts, make a couple coupons. Do a couple things that will help you get some subscription operational chops. So when you do launch your business, you know what you're doing. And there's other cool things. You can extend your trial by tweeting it, by like Facebook sharing it, all that good stuff. So it's like a super low risk way to get better versed at what you'll be doing. And I don't think you need a credit card to check out. It's just like an email. So I would definitely suggest doing a free trial. If you do that, please tell them where you came from. You can choose subscription school or a webinar, but tell them that we sent you. This is good for us because then we know where people are coming from. And that's always helpful for our reporting purposes. And with that said, let's talk about the launch. So like I mentioned before, the launch is really a multi-step process. So if you're working on a subscription business right now, you've probably spent a good amount of time thinking about it, and you probably don't think that you'll launch it in a weekend. You can launch it in a weekend if you wanted to, especially using a platform like Cratechoy that has everything all in one. But what I want to do today is really lay out why taking an extended period is a good idea to launching this type of business specifically. Mainly, it's based on a couple different goals. I think these are all very, very important goals in their own respect too. The first one is to validate your idea. Everybody thinks that they have a great idea, and truthfully, a lot of ideas are good, but also truthfully, a lot of ideas aren't great. They could be improved in certain ways, and maybe we have an idea of a niche we want to get into, but we don't know the perfect iteration of that. And with the process I'm going to lay out today, you can get that perfect iteration. You can gather that data, and you can make sure that when you actually do launch your business and you're collecting dollars, that's an idea that's been validated with people. And that also comes down to testing your product market fit. So not only are you going to be making sure that your idea is the right one, but you're also going to make sure that your idea is the right one for the right people. So you might have a very specific idea of what type of consumer would want to have your subscription box. With the process I'll outline today, I'm going to show you how to test that and how to gather data around that and then react to it if it's not the right way, or react to it if it is the right set of consumers. This is also important to do an extended process because it can help you build anticipation and eagerness within your community. And that is really powerful for a couple different reasons when it comes to the virality, the sharing of it. and the likelihood that you'll be able to convert people when you actually turn your subscriptions on, given the anticipation and eagerness they feel inside, the emotions they're feeling. And ultimately, the reason why I like that this multi-step process I'm going to outline is because this can generate revenue to fund your business idea. A lot of people can get stuck up reasonably on the finances. Can I afford this? Does it make financial sense? And the process I'll show you today is built to alleviate that concern and to give you a pathway to fund your business, and not have to worry about having to come a lot of money out of pocket or put a bunch of stuff on credit cards and that type of thing. So before we go forward, I want to ask you guys a couple of questions. The first one is, have you tried to start a business before? And so this could be a subscription business. It doesn't have to be a subscription business, but just tell me, like, give me a sense of, where you're at in, your business acumen, I guess I should say. And just so everybody knows, I see that we've got a couple of questions. Brittany, Jerry, Scott. I see you guys' questions coming in, and we'll definitely get to each one of these at the end of the session today. Alrighty. So it looks like basically everybody voted. I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. If you didn't vote, no worries. I'm going to share these results with you. So it looks like most people, about half of you have, and a little bit more than half of you either have or try to start one. Maybe you didn't launch, but you have kind of started taking those first couple steps. So I think that based on the process that we're talking about today, you'll see how this process that I'll outline is actually pretty different than the normal process of starting a business. And I hope it's more compelling in some important ways. The second question I want to ask you is what stage you are currently in launching your subscription business. And if the word pre-launch is confusing for you, that's our third option in the list. It's something that I'll go over today. Basically, it means like a soft launch. But if you're in that stage, you know what it is. If you're not in that stage, you probably don't know what it is, so you probably wouldn't choose that option anyways. But just don't let that word throw you off. And I'll leave this up here for a few minutes, or excuse me, a few seconds. Alrighty, I'm going to go and close this poll now too, and I'll show these results so you guys can see where everybody else is at. It looks like the majority of you guys are in the planning stage, so you haven't launched yet or you haven't pre-launched yet. That's great. I think you guys are on the perfect webinar, and even for those of you who are currently pre-launching, I think you'll glean a couple cool things from today's webinar and from today's content that'll really help you make sure that pre-launch is successful. And if there are things about your pre-launch right now that are confusing you, like I said, feel free to go ahead and ask as many questions as you want. I want to really get into what's most helpful for each of you. We have a pretty manageable amount of people here today, so I think that I could probably answer a couple questions from each one of you if the time is not too tight. And with that said, let's really get into this. The first step of this three-step or three-phase process is the teaser or the pre-launch phase. So this is referred often on Subscription School as a pre-launch. Some people call it a soft launch. Some people call it a teaser, or some people call it like a lead generation campaign or a lead gen campaign. Basically, the way to think about it is a teaser or pre-launch is just a page where you are gathering interest. You're showing your idea to people and you're pushing traffic to the page, but you're not requesting that they check out. You're asking for something lower than that, usually an email. It's different than a pre-sales campaign, in which I'll talk about briefly, in the sense that you're not asking for any money. A pre-sales campaign is a little bit more likened to almost like a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, where you're actually getting people to pay money right now for the promise of a product in the future, in the near future. A pre-sales campaign can be different from an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter campaign because it's not a crowdfunded. Pre-sales using certain apps, and I'll go over an app that Craigslist offers, is similar to a pre-launch in the sense that it's a simplified website, but you're still getting people to check out for a subscription before you've actually even started shipping boxes. Now, the reason why I suggest a pre-launch phase versus a pre-sales campaign or a crowdfunding campaign is number one, with crowdfunding, there can be some serious restrictions on different sites. Kickstarter has some specific restrictions where you can't be. I don't think they even allow subscription products on there because you can't. You can't get people into a renewing scenario through Kickstarter. Also with Kickstarter and Indiegogo, you can't actually get them to even sign up. Like they're donating to a campaign. If you actually want them to become subscribers, they're gonna have to subscribe later on anyways. It's nice to grow some, to get a little bit of money in your pocket. But I think that through a pre-launch campaign, there are easier ways to do that. With pre-sale campaigns, it's I think it's a much harder battle to get people to convert because you're asking them for money when they don't even know that you have fulfilled a product yet. It can be I feel like that's a much more difficult a task than just asking someone for their email based on their interest on your niche. So I like pre-launches because it's a low commitment for the consumer. It's a low amount of work that we have to do to get that page up and start growing that interest. And the result of it can be really, really, really powerful for the life of your subscription business. This is optional. You don't have to do this. You can just launch if you want to. And like I said, you can do something else. But the reason why I think this is really powerful because of the validation it can give you. And let's kind of work through this slide here and look at what this is. So when you're getting your pre-launch page up, there's a couple things that you're going to want to have in place before you do this. You're going to want to have some sense of branding, maybe a logo, some good marketing copy, and a voice established. You kind of know what your business is going to sound like on paper. Your product development should be at about 80%, and by 80%, I mean you basically know what's going to be in your box. Maybe you don't have the brands chosen, but you know there's going to be 6 to 8 this type of product. 6 to 8 artisan food items, or 6 to 8 vegan dietary supplements, whatever it might be. You have a sense of what that product offering is going to be like. And once you've got all that stuff together, then you can put up a pre-launch page and show people your idea. You don't want to just put up a pre-launch page that's super vague, doesn't have any branding on it, and it's just like, do you like dogs? Sign up for our pre-subscription, because then it's so general. I think it'll do you better justice if you have a fleshed out idea and you've got your development and your marketing and your branding to a place that feels cohesive to someone who's actually hitting the page. The goals of this phase, like I just mentioned, is really validation. During this stage, you can pitch your idea to real people. We're not talking about friends and family, we're not talking about mom. We're talking about getting your idea in front of real consumers and then saying, would you be interested in this? And based on your conversion rate on this pre-launch page, you can glean whether that's a yes, this is a good idea, or no, this is a shabby idea for whichever reason. In addition to that, by doing a pre-launch phase, you can experiment with your marketing. You can get an idea of how receptive your community is to the concept and to the way you're framing the concept. So if you're doing specific things and you're running specific advertising, it's a lot less risky to spend $5 or $10 now and get some more data on what works for a low commitment than worrying about, like, you launch your business and you're in deep and you've got to get customers and you're really forced to scramble and get more customers each month to fulfill those orders. This gives you a little bit of time to hone in on your marketing skills, get a little bit more comfortable with Instagram, get a little bit more comfortable with Facebook ads, get a little bit more comfortable with Pinterest ads, or whatever it might be. It gives you time to grow your own skill set, so when you actually launch your business, your abilities are going to match the demand that you may have. And ultimately, this whole idea of this phase is to collect that initial interest and to build that initial anticipation. When I say collect initial interest, I mean grow an email list. We're talking about getting people's names and emails, usually just emails. Usually I suggest people just ask for an email, not even the name, because it's one less thing for someone to type in. By doing that, by collecting this initial interest and building this anticipation, you're going to give yourself a set of ammunition to when you actually do launch, you get a lot of subscribers. So at this point, you might be wondering, like, okay, this sounds really cool. I want to do this, but what does this look like? What should I be doing exactly? And I'm going to show you a couple different examples that have all been very successful. The first one is Yogi Surprise. Yogi Surprise is a really cool monthly subscription business about yoga products. It was built by a couple buddies of mine, and I really like their landing page for a couple reasons, and I always use it in this presentation because it breaks the mold for a lot of people. And when I say that, I mean by the way it's created. And so let me work through it, and that'll become clearer. So as you can see on the page here, we've got a completed brand, this professional logo. We have a short little tagline. We have a little bit of a reason to care. We have a call to action, then we have an incentive. So the completed brand and professional logo is the Yogi Surprise purple logo up at the top. You can see it's just a font-faced logo. The Y is a little exclamation point. So it's slightly branded, nothing super crazy difficult. Um, uh, and then you can see this short little tagline, a yogi-inspired monthly surprise, a really quick explanation of what this is, a reason to care. So whether you're a wellness enthusiast or a seasoned yoga master, Yogi Surprise is the perfect complement to your healthy lifestyle. One sentence right there that tells people why this is interesting to them. This is a perfect complement, and that should be spelled with an E, but let's not spell check this. Yogi Surprise is the perfect complement to your healthy lifestyle. If you're living a healthy lifestyle and you love yoga, this looks pretty cool. I'll drop my email address in this, and look, I could even win a lifetime subscription. This is appealing. And when I say that Yogi Surprise's landing page kind of broke a mold, is that take a look at the imagery here. We've got a girl who is probably the target demographic. She's not even doing yoga. She's just sitting on the beach, like cross-legged. She's kind of got her hands in kind of like a meditative state. But it's kind of like you can see her fingers and her forefingers and thumbs are touching, but it's not like a super yoga imposed image. And more than that, there's no box. We have no box on this landing page. There are no products on this landing page. She's not even wearing any branded clothing. This is purely a lifestyle image. It's purely something that's image driven based on the type of person they expected to come to this page. I thought that was really cool, and it was really effective for them. This page converted at about, I believe, 17.8% or so. So that means about 1 in 4, 1 in 5 people, who hit this page actually gave them the email address. I guess it's basically about 1 in 6, in between maybe 1 in 5.5. And that's great. That's good. That's strong validation right there. That's a lot of people who want to be notified if this business actually launches. So let's look at another example. This is Prosperly. This is a business that I run with my brother, and this is a artisan food subscription. And you can see it's similar but different in a couple ways. So up at the top we have an incentive: join today for 10% off for life. We've got the plain text logo, a little tagline underneath that, another little tagline: ingredients for a happy life, a brief description. Longer than Yogi Surprises. We're looking at total of 3 sentences here. An incentive and a low commitment. Join today and receive 10% off for life. Just asking for an email address. This page was also very effective. You can see here that we've got a strong orange color. So we've got a strong brand kind of feel coming through this page, just like the purple on Yogi Surprise. The reason why I think this is a good example of product development at 80% is because look, it's just a text logo. There's no box featured on the page. We have an idea of what we're getting: arts and crafted delicacies, handmade bath and body essentials, inspiring ways to have fun with friends. It's got a brief description. It's not necessarily saying that these products you see on the page are what you're going to get in your first box, but it gives you an idea: a beeswax candle, maple syrup, a jam, a soap, chocolate, tea, crackers, that type of thing. It gives you a sense of what might be coming in the box, and it's a brief description of what it's going to look like on your doorstep each month. What also is interesting about both of these landing pages here is Yogi Surprise changed their tagline to a yoga retreat in a box. We changed our tagline from food, friends, thought, and from ingredients for a happy life to a farmer's market in a box, or a farmer's market delivered. So both these taglines changed. Both of these brief descriptions, the main way we pitch our businesses, both of those changed. And that was based on the feedback and the conversion rates and our time that we gave ourselves to learn more about our businesses and to become better marketers at our businesses. So what you're seeing right here aren't even the final iterations of either one of these ideas. Prosperly's landing page converted people at about 23%, 24%. That's 1 in 4 people who hit this page gave us their email address. That's a strong validation there that this is an idea that resonates with the type of audience that we are marketing to. Another good example of a landing page is Harry's. So If you have not heard of Harry's razors before, I would be surprised since they're like super huge now. They're in like Targets, they're on TV. They're disrupting the razor industry. But I thought their landing page is also a really good example of how to launch a business successfully. Unfortunately, I don't know what their conversion rate is, but we can glean a couple details about their pre-launch. Let's take a look at their landing page really quick, and then I'll give you some more detail about the details um, behind their pre-launch. You can see here we've got some cohesive branding. We've got a Harry's font. We've got a little bit of with this little logo on the razor itself. We have a reason to care, respecting the face and wallet since like right now. Theirs is even shorter than Yogi Surprises. It's like not even a full sentence. The incentive is to be the first to know. I think that's really cool. Instead of a 10% off for life, instead of a lifetime subscription, it's be the first to know. And another simple call to action, step inside, just asking for the email. That's one parallel that we see throughout each one of these landing pages. It's only email that's being asked for. Um, like I said, I don't know what their conversion rate was, but they got 100,000 emails in 1 week. So I imagine that their conversion rate was pretty high. If you want to learn more about Harry's razors, or even more about Prosperly, I would really encourage you to check out the story. And if you want to check out the story, just go to Harry's Razors, Tim Ferriss. And Tim Ferriss has a blog called 4 Hour Workweek, which sounds lovely to me. But they did a post with Harry's that walked through how they got 100,000 emails in a single week. And it includes templates, the code for their page, a lot of really cool stuff. They talked about what they did, referral program, a lot of really, really interesting things in here that can be really, really helpful. If you want to learn more about Prosperly's pre-launch, I would suggest going to subscription school and going to how I built a business that made over 50K in 6 months. This is a full disclosure guide from me about the first 6 months of business. It includes everything from a screenshot of my revenue to early posts to why I started the business and where we came up with the name. It has a first piece of paper that I was jotting down at literally 4 o'clock in the morning when I was coming up with the idea. The pre-launch early social media posts, conversion rate was 22.28%. Our first email, how I was adding vendors to it. It is a full-on guide of how to build a subscription business completely. We have a screenshot of my brand invitation. If you want to get the full invitation, you can sign up at my blog for my newsletter. I'll talk about that later. But it shows how I customized a theme on Cratejoy to my own site. Literally, the emails I sent to my developer. A lot of information there. Similarly, Jameson Morris on his blog, he has a couple posts. This one's probably the best one for this purpose of this webinar, how to start a subscription box, the first steps. This is a really cool guide too. He goes into a lot of detail about how he started his and a couple steps that he would suggest based on his landing page, and how he how he built these things. So that said, there's a couple good resources behind each one of these launches, and I would suggest checking each one of them out. So let's jump back into the presentation here. Okay. So those are our pre-launch pages, right? A couple different ways to do them. No products, no box, just a lifestyle image. Multiple products, single product, all of them low commitments. If you want to start working on this for yourself, there's a couple different resources I can point you to. The first one would be LaunchRock or Unbounce or Kickoff Labs or WordPress. Those are all different engines that you can use to build a pre-launch page. I don't know what Harry's used. I think they had a custom page. That's the code that they provide to you. But both of these we used LaunchRock for both of these. So LaunchRock is really clunky, and a lot of people hate it, and I don't blame people for it. There's other things that you can do for sure. Cratejoy has an app called Try Celery for pre-sales, and there's also a pre-launch theme that we're offering now at Cratejoy that's in beta. And you can just email us at support@cratejoy.com if you want to get access to that. If you are already launched, it doesn't sound like anybody in this webinar is based on the poll we did earlier, but there's a Sumo Me opt-in monster. Those are lead generation tools. Those are pop-ups that will come up on your site, or little right-hand sidebar things to gather emails. I won't go into that because we don't have anybody here that is needing that. But with each one of these things, Cratejoy, LaunchRock, Unbounce, Kickoff Labs, WordPress, whatever it is, you'll also use a resource called MailChimp. That's your email marketing platform. That's where you're going to be uploading all the emails you gathered to MailChimp, and you'll be using MailChimp to design, develop, and then email people and keep them interested in your subscription until you actually launch. And we'll go over that stuff as we go through this webinar. Another guide that I would suggest checking out would be the Subscription School Guide, Setting Up a Pre-Launch for Your Subscription Business. It is a guide that's specifically focused on how to actually build these pages. So it's a little bit different than the one on Prosperly, but it covers a lot of the same things. It has some of the same screenshots, but it has some email prompts in there, some other cool things that you can use to get your pre-launch started. It's another cool guide that I would suggest checking out. Okay, so let's move on here. So after we do our pre-launch, what do we do next? What's the next step? Well, let's say we walked away with a couple thousand emails. What are we doing? The formal launch is the second step of this, and this is when you start to get early sales. So you haven't actually shipped a box yet, but it's time to start marketing your business. So at this point, maybe it's 30, maybe it's 60 days after you've been doing a pre-launch. What should have been done is list building and lead nurturing, which we'll talk about. You should have built your website and worked through your billing system. So you should have gone through Cratejoy, set up your store, chosen your payment provider, set up your bank account, etc., etc. You should have some early product choices and some packaging decisions that have been made because you're going to be shipping a box pretty soon. And you're basically you can call it a launch, but it's not like your product's hitting the market yet necessarily. The goal of this phase is to convert that initial anticipation into revenue. We want to take all those emails that we gathered, all that interest that we gathered, and actually turn those people into customers. If you do this right, you can actually fund your business with it. This will pay for packaging. This will pay for shipping. This will pay for your month one items. This will pay for your domain, any expenses that you came out of pocket for. And this is an opportunity to build the rest of your business. During these next couple of weeks before you start shipping out products and really getting out there, make sure your site's been updated. Make sure you're starting to build better funnels and better emails. Start to test some new lead generation ideas, giveaways, that type of thing. At this point too, it's really a time to do a bunch of evaluation. If you hit the date, let's say that date is November 15th, you hit the date and you're supposed to launch, you're supposed to open up the subscriptions that day. Now's the time to evaluate your product market fit. Is there a strong indication that you're going to be able to build a business on this idea of yours? If so, launch it. Start planning around it. If not, go back to the drawing board. Extend your pre-launch. Do new things. Try new types of marketing. Start to target new types of consumers. If it is the right indication, it's time to assemble a founding marketing army, and we'll talk about that. So in terms of benchmarks here, I think that what you want to hit in terms of emails will be, I think you should shoot for, roughly. Let me go back here. It looks like we're. Oh, you know what? I think we skipped a slide there. Let me just backtrack really quick because we skipped the slide. In terms of the pre-launch, the start of the marketing your pre-launch, still on the page. I just want to cover a couple things since I know we have a couple questions about this. Sorry, I totally missed a slide. When you're doing your pre-launch, there's a couple easy ways to get traffic to the page. So back to these pages, how do we get people here? There's a couple things that you can do. Number one, niche blogger outreach. Finding people who are in your niche and then reaching out to them and saying, hey, will you shout this out? Will you partner with us on this giveaway? Something like that can be a really easy way to push traffic. Instagram ambassadors or social influencers, people who are on YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it might be, Facebook pages, reaching out to them and saying, hey, here's my idea. I think it would be great for your community. Can we work together? That's another good source of traffic. You can do a bunch of organic methods via social media. So going on Instagram, liking people's photos, following people, going on Pinterest, creating Pinterest boards based on your interests, going and liking people's pins, repinning things, going on Facebook, making a Facebook page, inviting all your friends and family, encouraging everybody who likes it to go ahead and invite their friends and family. Those are all organic methods that you can do that can push traffic. During this phase two, I can't believe I missed the slide. This stuff is so important. But during this phase two, you also want to be keeping your leads warm. So as you're doing your pre-launch, stay in communication. When people are dropping their email in, you shouldn't just take their email and then be like, okay, I'll reach out to you in 60 days. Stay in communication. I think that usually once a week at least is a good kind of cadence for emails. Those emails can be about sneak peeks. They can be sneak peeks of packaging or product or themes for your box. They could be hellos from the team. They could be questionnaires, opportunity to gather data. They could be calls to action to share your page or to be involved in a giveaway or to invite their friends and family, that type of thing. So there's a lot of things that you can be saying during your pre-launch phase that will help keep your leads warm. And with the right amount of communication, the anticipation is going to compound over time. You'll really get people who are super, super excited, who are almost angry at you that you haven't launched yet, by keeping them in the loop, by keeping them excited about your product. During this phase, I would also suggest setting some benchmarks. I would say limit yourself to 1 or 2 months. So about 60 days max. If you're going to be doing a pre-launch, I wouldn't go much further than that because that's a long time to wait. And while you're doing this phase, I would say aim for 2,000 to 5,000 leads, but the more is better. Every single time I say that, people are always like, Jesse, why so high? Why so high? Can't we do fewer people than that? Like, what about 500 emails? You can, absolutely. I think that anything over 500 is kind of like the bare minimum. I suggest going for 2 to 5,000 because walking away with 2 to 5,000 leads is going to give you like a significant amount of people to market to. That'll be hundreds of subscribers month one. That's a healthy business. That's going to pay your bills, get your business off the ground, give you money to start marketing. That is a goal that if you can hit it, you can really do some big stuff. You don't have to do the Harry's 100,000, but and you don't have to do even 5,000, but getting somewhere between 500 to 2,000, I think, is a really good goal. For the conversion rate on this page, your visitor to pre-subscriber rate, so the people who hit this page and then actually give you their email, I would suggest looking for it for between 10 and 20%. And I think that the reason why that number is higher than you might be used to with like traditional e-commerce is because it's such a low commitment that you want to be sure that people are converting at a high amount, because when they do, that's what tells you your idea has legs, right? That's the indication that you're looking for to make sure that your business is appealing to the type of consumers you're marketing to. If you're getting a conversion rate at 3%, something's off. Check your language, check your branding, check your value proposition. Something is awry there. Something's not compelling enough to consumers. So set those benchmarks for yourself. 60 days, 1,500 emails, 15% conversion rate. I think that's a good start. Okay, let's jump back into what I was just talking about. So we talked about after you've done your pre-launch, you're now doing your formal launch. You should have been doing that list building. You should have been doing that lead nurturing. We can now we want to convert that initial anticipation. We want to build the rest of our business. We want to evaluate our product market fit and establish our founding member marketing army. So what the second phase here, how long is this? So we haven't shipped a box yet. We're now taking orders. How long until we actually ship a box? The second phase should be run for about 1 to 1.5 months. It could be shorter if you want it to. So for example, if you open up free subscribers on October 1st, and your very first shipment could go out November 1st or November 16th. So if you opened up orders for pre-subscribers on October 1st, that means you've probably been collecting emails since September, right? You launched in August 15th, and you did pre-subscriptions through August 15th, the end of September, and now on October 1st, you're now accepting orders. I would say give yourself 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of time before you ship your first box, because that's what's going to give you time to convert your leads list into actual subscribers. So, the most important thing I think around this date decision is expectations with your customers. So whatever you do, whether it's you shipping in 2 weeks or whether it's you shipping in 6 weeks, make sure subscribers know. Keeping expectations in line with subscribers is the number one most important thing to do, not just during your pre-launch phase, but basically forever. But you can kind of string these people along for 6 weeks if you really need to. If 2 weeks in you're not at the 100 subscriber mark and you really want to be, then give yourselves 2, 3 more weeks. That's totally fine, as long as you set those expectations. Okay, so what's the true conversion rate? The true conversion rate is the amount of people who actually convert from your leads list to your subscribers. So if 10,000 people hit your landing page, right, and they converted at 10%, you'd have 1,000 email subscribers. Now, the true conversion rate is how many of those email subscribers then sign up. So if it's 10% of those email subscribers, you're looking at 100 subscribers. Um, so the true conversion rate is probably going to be around 5 or 10%. The reason why this number is useful to know is because it can help you project how many products to order month one. It can help you project cash flow and that type of thing. I think that a true conversion rate around 5 to 10% is pretty good. You might see higher. With Prosperly, we saw around, I think, about 14 or 15%. It was quite a bit higher. But remember, our landing page conversion was a little bit higher than 20%. We were like at 22% or 23%. So expect a conversion rate around that amount. It might be flexible. It's never the same for any one person. But set that benchmark and make your estimations based on that. Given what I've seen, that's pretty common. So it's now November 16th. We've converted 10% of our pre-subscribers. We've got 100 subscribers. Now it's time to really launch your business. And when I say launch your business, I mean launch the momentum. Phase 3 marks the shipment of your first boxes. You are now in business, right? Your product is now in people's hands. It's hitting people's doorsteps. Like, it just got real. So the step 3 here is, I think, even though you've been live and you've been accepting orders, I think this is when it gets exciting. Now you can use your original influencer contacts that you built up during your pre-launch phase. You can send them boxes. They can help you announce your official launch. They can do reviews for you. You can re-announce this official launch to your unconverted leads list. You can finish building whatever you were building on your site. Now it's time to get ready for mass appeal, because if your box is a hit and people get it and people are like, holy crap, this thing is freaking awesome, then you might be positioning yourself for a ton of traffic. You want to make sure that you're ready to handle that. During that time, that kind of 1 month, 1.5 month period, you'll definitely want to have done a couple of things too. Build out your customer service solution like Zendesk. Zendesk is basically just a skin for your email inbox and for your social media and stuff. I'd start to identify areas of improvement. Look at your branding. Look at your checkout page. Is it too long? What operations can you optimize? If you're going to be growing your business month on month by a lot of subscribers, these are things that you're going to want to focus on early and as quickly as possible to maximize your conversion rate and maximize customer experience. And I would suggest, if you're looking at a couple hundred subscribers, consider outsourcing fulfillment. We have a resources page on Subscription School that has a lot of really good fulfillment companies that you can use. And I always suggest to people, don't be a fulfillment company. You're not a fulfillment company. You're a marketing company. You're marketing to sell products. And try to get out of that business is my advice. So what are you waiting for? At this point, we went over the pre-launch, validating your idea, getting initial traction, keeping those leads warm, converting those leads, and then making sure that you're ready to, when your product is actually hitting doorsteps, that you're ready to make the most of that upcoming traffic and make the most of that these future opportunities to get more subscribers. So what I like to do is, these dates are wrong. Oh my gosh, so sorry. But next Friday, what I would like to have you guys do is to set up a store and to start to build out your idea and give yourself thoughts for your first batch of items. At this point, you guys should have had a good solid week of working on your store. So like I said, I'd suggest going back to your Cratejoy store, setting up that free trial, start to poke around with things, look at these different things, maybe start your designer, maybe start to look at some early items, maybe go to LaunchRock, start to fiddle with a pre-launch page, or email Cratejoy, start to use our beta pre-launch themes. But start doing those things so you can start to get some momentum built behind your idea. I think that if you start a free trial, you download some free resources from Subscription School, and I got another slide with some other resources for you here too, and you start working on your store and your branding, you're going to position yourself to be a lot more successful when you actually launch your product than you otherwise would be if you just try to launch it, like I said, over a weekend or something like that. Next up, after next Thursday, schedule a pre-launch. Make that page live. It's not a heavy lift. You don't have to promise anything. You don't ever have to launch a business. You don't have to buy anything. Maybe it's $30 or so in buying a domain name and a hosting plan from LaunchRock. And that can get you a public-facing page that can start to grab emails for you. It's not a lot of work to do those things, and it's a lot of benefit down the line. So it's just doing it. Some extra resources or some things that'll help. Like I said, subscriptions, go free guides, videos, and the Facebook community. For the resources, I would suggest checking out Giving Your Stage. I would suggest this influencer blogger outreach worksheet. It's basically an Excel sheet that helps you keep track of your bloggers and your influencers. So if you're working with a lot of different social influencers, that type of thing, I would suggest getting something to keep them organized. Also, if you go to my blog and you join my newsletter, I send out my my brand invitation for Prosperly, and so you can grab that to the Craigjoy blog. Start.craigjoy.com/blog has a lot of great news, a lot of informative posts on there. So go to that blog, check that out. In addition to that, we talked about Jameson's blog too. He blogs about subscription commerce stuff. I would suggest checking that out as well. And now let's jump into your Q&A since we got about 10 minutes left here. So Kay asks, what elements of subscription boxes make it most compelling, i.e. a must-have item? Are there universal components that make a good subscription box? What needs should be met to keep a member sticking around? Kay, that really depends on your niche. For a kid box or something oriented towards education, that might be, not retail value, but educational value. Maybe the box costs $40 and there's only $4 worth of products in there, but people are stoked about their kid learning something. If it's a makeup box, maybe it's the variety of products. So I think that really depends on your niche. I think the universal components that make a good subscription box are compelling, cohesive, niche-driven products for your niche audience. What your type of customers love because you might be that type of customer yourself, and making a brand experience that fulfills that's the universal component that makes a great subscription box. BarkBox does that great for animals. Birchbox, Ipsy, they do that great for beauty product lovers. The people who have book subscriptions, they do it great because they know that they're marketing the book lovers. I think that's what I would say, and that even applies to keeping members around, making sure that the members see value and need in your subscription. That's how people stick around. Scott asks, if appropriate for this webinar, I'm curious if when putting together a demo box, photos of a box, do you need to get permission from the manufacturer? Yeah, I would suggest reaching out, Scott. So with Prosperly, with all the products on that page, I reached out to all those manufacturers and I said, hey, you're a great example of the products we're going to be putting in our box. Can we put you on our landing page? Some people didn't email us back. Some people we actually ended up getting in our box. So I do think that you should reach out to them. Jerry says, I'm working on a quarterly box. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Is it possible to call back and have someone answer my questions? Yeah, Jerry, I would suggest, I don't work on the support team, so I'm not best how to help you with your quarterly subscription question. If you're already in touch with support, I'll see if I can go ping them. I've got your name, so I'll also go see if someone can hop over, and if you've been waiting a long time, I'll see if someone can get back to you. Otherwise, I know that Craigjoy is not really built for quarterly subscriptions, and what I'll do is, there are some good resources, I think. Let's just Google this really quickly together. Craigjoy quarterly subscription. Help. Billing frequencies. I don't know if you checked out our help center, but there is quarterly. That only bills subscribers once every 3 months. So you'll be shipping out every month because people could subscribe each month. So people could be getting January, March, or not January, March. It would be January, April, July, and then I guess what would be October. So it's a little bit funky for quarterly subscriptions. I would suggest just keep working with support, and I'm gonna go, Jerry. I'll let them know about your question too. Sorry, I can't give you a better answer. Brittany says, could you offer advice on how to time your first shipment if you're creating a personalized, customized, personal styling apparel service? Brittany, that's really, really, really hard. Customizations are really a pain in the butt. In terms of timing, I would say give yourself and your manufacturers at least 3 to 6 weeks lead time before you ship your first box. So you need to know what you're going to be ordering at least 3 weeks ahead of time. So depending on where you're at in your business, I think that type of time frame should give you enough time to get everything in order. So Kim says, I'm on the shipping decision making process. Love that CrateJoy sent out a link for boxes. Yay, I'm so happy you checked those out, Kim. Do you feel that it's all right to use different size boxes as necessary? Absolutely. There are a lot of boxes who do that. You don't need to buy a mail label machine from the USPS. I would actually suggest the Dymo 4XL, I think it's called, printer. This one right here, this Dymo Label Writer 4XL, it's like $220. I think you can get it cheaper on Amazon. That's a really great label printer. I think it will do a better job than a USPS label printer, and it's probably cheaper too. So I would suggest doing that. And I think, like I said, I think it's fine to use different size boxes. Trina, yes, this is recorded and will be available later. Adam, that's also the answer to your question. Kim, I used the CrateJoy app for pre-launch and I'm already launched. That is awesome. I hope it worked out well for you, Kim. Kissy says, is it crazy to think that you can launch before Christmas? No, it's not. You're actually at the right time. You have to start right now, though. Oh, Kim, you said not launched, but pre-launched. Well, I hope your pre-launch is going awesome. Matt says, where am I able to grab the doc you presented? I joined the presentation late. Matt, this will be on Subscription School under the video section. It'll be a download link when this webinar is uploaded. Scott says, thoughts on Subly? Honestly, Scott, and this is not because I work with CrateJoy, it's not as powerful as CrateJoy, and I think that if you're looking for a great all-in-one platform, CrateJoy is the best, hands down. I've built sites, static sites using PayPal, Magento. I built WordPress sites using Chargeify. I built sites on CrateJoy. I basically built sites. I built sites on Unbounce. I basically built them all on all different platforms. And I think that CrateJoy is the easiest and best, most powerful all-in-one platform. And all the other stuff that we do for you at CrateJoy is like unbelievable. So I might be a little bit biased, but I think that's my thought. So Jess says, can you talk about the pros and cons of TriCelery, LaunchRock, and CrateJoy Beta? TriCelery is for pre-sales. LaunchRock and CrateJoy Beta pre-launch pages are for lead gen. I think that CrateJoy Beta is probably the best at this point because you can keep all your customer data on one platform, and LaunchRock doesn't integrate with MailChimp. But like I said, TriCelery is a different beast. That's pre-sales. So what's a good starting number for subscribers? I think that matters on your price point and your profit margin, Kissy. I think that a good starting number of subscribers is at least 100 because then procurement's going to be a lot easier. Procurement, as in product sourcing. Anything above 50 is going to be a good number to, 50 or 100 or so is going to be a good number to launch with. Should you limit the number of boxes available during your initial launch? If so, how many? Nope. I would try to get as many people as you possibly can and order your products as late as possible to accommodate as many subscribers as you can. I think selling out would be a good problem. Courtney says, when reaching out to companies for products, who do you actually reach out to if it's a really big business or wellness company? They probably have a marketing department. I would suggest going to the marketing department because you're a subscription box. You're not a retailer, so you're not looking for wholesale products. You're looking for a unique deal. But I don't know what the title would be for you, Courtney. I would definitely reach out to marketing and be like, hey, I'm a subscription box. This is what we do for you. Can you give us a better price than wholesale? Because we're not a retailer. We're not selling these items on a one-off basis. So do you know kids boxes with animal or zoo themes? Animal or zoo? I actually don't, Adam. Zoo theme animal boxes for kids. Nothing comes to mind. There's a box called Bookaroo with like a kangaroo, but that's for books. It's not really the same. Kim says you don't suggest using the CrateJoy label printer. Kim, the CrateJoy doesn't have a label printer. You can buy postage through CrateJoy, but the actual physical label printer, I'd suggest the Dymo. Where do we get the materials for this? Are there additional resources? Michaela, the additional resources on Subscription School. The slides for this will be under the video on Subscription School. So if you go to Subscription School, you click any of our videos, you'll see that there's a download option for the slides. So this will be available probably in the next 1 or 2 days. Can I use CrateJoy for shipping in Europe? Absolutely, Adam. Adam. Yeah, you can. Jess says, is CrateJoy an all-in-one resource for a site, or do you need a separate site as well? No, Jess, it's all-in-one. You can build a website. You can take care of customers. You can purchase shipping. Everything you need can be done in one place. How do we get a wholesalers to sell you when you are not a retail? You tell them, Kissy, I'm not a retailer. I'm putting this in a subscription box. I'm not going to be selling this on a one-off basis. I'm going to be doing this in a one monthly shipment. Just communicate it to them and then see what they think. There's a conversion rate with everything. So some people might not want to work with you. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. So have those conversations, and you'll start to get used to it. And I think that'll equip you with the information you need. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you guys one more question, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up here. We've got 1 minute left. And I'll close this poll. I want to know, I should have told you what I'm asking you. What's the biggest thing preventing you from launching your business? And this is good for me because it helps me develop new webinars and new ideas around this webinar in the future. So let me know what's keeping you from launching. And I think that, and I'll stop talking. I won't spoil the pot. All right, this looks like about most of you launched. So the results are in. Financial constraints, the biggest thing. Half of you are worried about that. I really want to stress with this pre-launch kind of scenario that we've laid out here today, this can help you afford the launch. All right, it's if you get yourself thousands of emails or hundreds of emails at least, you can get yourself a lot of customers month one where you are generating revenue 4, 5, 6 weeks before you even ship a box. So if it's about funding, keep that in mind. I really encourage you to read the Prosperly Guide and learn how we use a pre-launch to fund the business. I think that financial constraints are people's number one concern, but with a pre-launch, you can do it. So keep that in mind. I think that you guys have asked a lot of really great questions today. If you have more questions, please head over to the Subscription School group on Facebook. Please let me know what you thought of the webinar. You should want to leave a comment in there, and I will like it and I will comment on it. Let me know what you guys thought of it. I'm excited to do another webinar with you guys. We have a lot more coming up this month, so please check out the webinar calendar. There's a couple good ones I would really suggest checking out, especially the how to price your subscription box if you're in the early stage still. Thank you guys so much again for attending. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. The webinar recording will be live with the slideshow in about 2 or 3 days. I guess today's Thursday, so maybe Monday of next week. And thank you guys a lot. I really appreciate all these comments. If you guys want to follow me, please check out my website, jesserichardson.com. Hop on my blog and join my newsletter. I send off cool things about subscription boxes every once in a while. So, all right, guys, I will see you all later, and best of luck with your ideas. See ya.